But red team, they've got a very powerful push set up here towards the mansion. But if they die here, the game actually ends. Bear that in mind. They must win this fight now. They have to win. Let's see if they can. They're going to go for Enigma. Enigma does have his elite skill, has that invulnerability available. And actually, it's going to be the Herald going down here. That should be a confirmed kill. There's no stability. Here comes the Signet. Is it going to land? Yes, it absolutely is. Cooldown wars continues. Enigma, though, still has his elite. He's kind of okay right now. I don't think he's super stressed. Here comes the elite skill, and red team are already kind of getting burned out of cooldown, so I think. Have they managed to secure the node? They haven't got it yet. Now I think they're going to really go hard on Enigma, though. Does a Spree have anything left? He has his own renewed focus. Needs to support that Soul Beast, though. The Soul Beast so very low. Who's going to go down first? It is actually going to be the red team. The Soul Beast falls. They can't res that. There's no way they can res that. Oh, no! And Dimash wins the 1v1! Oh, that's huge. Dimash actually clean wins the 1v1. That is massive. Enigma don't... Oh, no, I don't believe this! Enigma crumbles! He goes down to the Spectre falls as well! Red team actually claw the fight back! Never mind any of that, guys. Who cares about fractals and raids or anything like that? You know what we care about, guys? That's right. We care about PvP. The real alive game mode. The actual alive game mode in Guild Wars 2. Let's leap into the most prestigious monthly AT. That's right, guys. It is the Champion's Crown. Everyone wants to win this. Everyone wants to get in on the action. Let's see what we've got. Let's go check it out. Embrace the content. Let's see who's playing. This should be pretty spicy, by the way. Because, yes, here we go. And I thought this might be the team. Here we go, guys. Check this out. It is the return of a familiar face. It is Syndrina. And he thinks he's found the new meta, by the way, guys. Everyone's like, oh yeah, Catalyst is busted, guys. Syndrina is actually, he's been playing this a lot on streams. It's not a leak, not an expose. Okay? It is Power Catalyst. And yeah, it might even be multiple Power Catalyst. It is actually, it's Condi Catalyst here. Sorry, Condi Spectre, sorry, rather. From these three players. But it's 3 Spectres. Syndrina with the Power Spectre. And then Sakaya and Maya on the condition damage spectre. That might actually go to power at some point, because I was talking with Sind. He's like, yeah, man, you run 3 power spectre and you just farm, right? Like, you just completely obliterate people and we'll see what happens. Okay, but I don't know. But look, a lot of specters. It's a thief meta. Let's see how that works out. And yeah, we will be seeing some other builds, I think, later on, actually. Because we actually see the Berserker here on the floor. This is a build that actually has finally kind of crawled its way into the game. Relatively recently, funnily enough. And we also have the Herald, Power Herald. Yeah, not sure about this one. I think they are kind of playing the Herald mostly because, you know, it's probably going to be a relatively chill match. We might see some other relogs down the line. This is a slightly unusual composition from this team. However, I do believe that the red team is going to be fairly outmatched here. We have some pretty legendary players here on the blue team. And I think they're probably just going to completely demolish their opponents relatively quickly. So, yeah, got some weird stuff going on here. So we have, like, Mechanist, Deadeye, Mirage, Willbender, and Tempest. Not the worst builds in the universe, but probably not going to be enough to get some get a lot done here, to be honest. Why is my dialogue so loud? Oh, on the other hand, though, you know, maybe blue team just feeds. You know, the Condi mech obliterates one of the Spectre. This is how bad Spectre is, guys. Look, it's just dead to Condi mech. Can the Herald get the job done here? No, they actually can't. And blue team, they are in fact a player down at this point in time. Will they be able to recover? Well, the answer is definitely yes. They get the kill on the Tempest, and after a brief feed, they actually emerge with both side nodes captured, and here comes the respawn. So a momentary lapse in survivability there from blue, but they're definitely back on it right now. Cleaning up this team fight mid. The Tempest, I love players like this. They should let him actually self-res. Anyone who goes for a self-res 600 range away from the mid node, they kind of deserve to get it, if you ask me. I think that just let them have it, because that's got some serious balls on that. Syndra taking out the mech. No problem there. And yeah, this game is basically going to go this way. Nothing super interesting here. Let's go check out and see who else is playing. Who else is around? What's Xeon's team? Let's take a look. Here we go. What have we got? This is a big team, actually. So we have Ultra Scuffed, essentially. And it's going to be Xeon, Gornet, Floody, and Capablanca here on the Herald here. Oh, maybe Herald has returned. Maybe I have, in fact, missed something. Who knows? But they're going up against a team that is also probably going to have a little bit of a rough time. But a very formidable team here, I think, actually. A very, very formidable team indeed. Certainly one of those teams that I expect to be getting pretty far. Now, Reaper and maybe Gauntlet might end up having to play something else, because Reaper did actually get nerfed pretty damn hard. We'll see how it goes. I'm not really a huge fan of Reaper in the current meta, I think, simply because of the fact that it just lost a lot of its boon corruption potential. This is going to be the Condition Reaper build, but without a lot of the corrupts, you know, it lost the corrupt on Dagger offhand, and it lost the corrupt on the Weakening Shroud, and it doesn't corrupt boons anymore on Spiteful Spirit. So I think this build kind of got owned a fair bit in the last patch, mostly for the sake of world versus world, but obviously still is perfectly playable. It still exists. But yeah, this is definitely a very scary team. Looking forward to seeing how they go up against the Syndra team later on. Let's go see what else we've got here. There should be, I think there's going to be another few ones. Ah, yeah, here we go. Rank 55 Dragons. So I think this might be... Let's see who's playing here, actually. I actually don't know. I'm out of the loop. Oh, wow. Okay, now this is a team, actually. What the hell? Okay, this is... Okay. Well, this is going to be a little bit difficult to beat, actually. The whole crew is back. I certainly didn't expect this. We actually have Zan, Draza, Misha, Boyce, and Frey. That is going to be very difficult to beat for anyone. Oh my goodness. That is going to be disgusting. Boyce actually going to be playing the Soul Beast. Could be playing anything, though, later on into the tournament, of course. Frey on Tempest. Support build, very standard, same build as usual, using the staff. We have Misha on the Chronomancer, very disgusting build. It's going to be the power build, but of course there is the condition damage variant as well. Draza on Spectre, going to be the condition Spectre, and Zan on Scrapper here as well. That's the standard big damage grenade Scrapper build. Rank 55, actual full roster, more or less, for rank 55 Dragons. Incredibly monstrous team. I think that's going to be the team to beat in this tournament. If anyone can challenge that, I'm going to be very impressed by that particular team, because it's going to be no laughing matter to defeat those opponents there, let me tell you that. Let's see, do we have anything else that's noticeable here? 500-0. Well, I mean, to be fair, that is a first round game, gamers. So it's you know, it's going to be rough. But yeah, you know, it's really funny. You know, I like the fact that the PvP guys are like, oh yeah, you know, we had this great idea. We're going to split ourselves up and make loads of teams. They did that for 1 month, by the way, guys. Okay, I could have called all that one, I guess, but that's how it is. I think we actually have a French team as well. Do we have a French team here, guys? No, this is not the French team, actually. This is Enigma, Not a Melon, Wolf Spider, Ione, and also Demolish. This is actually a very good team. I think the top 8 is going to be very exciting in this tournament, in fact. This is going to be some good matchups later. As we get a little bit deeper, this could get very, very cool indeed. Very powerful roster here. You know, this is going to be weird. You know, we're living in the universe where people were saying that certain builds were ruining the game. Has CMC actually come in clutch and saved the day? Have we actually been freed from Catalyst before the monthly automated tournament? We may well have done. Okay, it is possible that that is the case. Okay, absolutely insane. But yeah, that's obviously going to be a 0 to 500. Now, where is the French team? Because I know Esprit was playing. He was saying that he was playing, but I don't know which roster they actually are. Let's see if I can maybe locate them here. Let's see. Triple loss into disband. FML. That is actually pretty funny. Yeah. Because I believe there is going to be a full French team. Let's see if we can find them. Ah, Falco. Also known by his other name, guys. Rocket Launcher. Rocket Launcher, but with various letters capitalized and uncapitalized throughout the word, guys. How do you feel about that? Yeah. That is what we like to see. Team Barcode. Well, a lot of the Team Barcode players are still playing, but they've put down the barcode, that's for sure. Where are the French guys? Does anyone know what team name they are? Oh, Cranel from Quaggins. That's kind of fun, actually. Anyone know which team the Frenchies are? Is it this one? That was a 500 game. Maybe it was this one. I failed to click on it, though. Exclamation mark worms in the chat. Yes. Worm gameplay. Another fairly straightforward game. This is kind of the way of the early round, though. So to kind of explain, why are all these games complete destruction? So the way it works is that basically the teams that have the most qualifying points go up against the teams that have the lowest qualifying points. So essentially, yeah, the strong teams are going to go up against the very entry-level teams. That's just the nature of how tournament seeding works. Like, basically, the more effort you put in before the tournament, like, the better seed you get, the better position you get in the tournament. So if you want to have a really easy first round in the monthly AT, play a lot of automated tournaments. Although that can actually backfire sometimes, because sometimes the really good teams only play like the minimum, so you can actually end up playing like the best team in the entire game in the first round. So you've got to be a little bit careful. You almost want to place yourself right in the middle, right? You want to have like a medium amount of qualifying points. And then it can, that can maybe help out. You know, that can maybe work out a little bit better for you. How about this one? Here we go. Oh, it was this one. It was this team again. I already looked at this team. They're destroying. They're annihilating right now. Good job, team. Well done, everyone. Yeah, I completely missed the French roster, guys. But it's fine. We'll see them on the next round. We'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. Man, the music at the end is always so sad. Do you guys hear that? It's just, it's very spooky. I don't really like it. It's like the end of the match, and then Doom has arrived, like this Reaper. I wish there was a way to actually turn off team colors so I could see everyone's fashion while I'm spectating them in PvP, but unfortunately the technology simply isn't there yet. It just isn't there. Is Num playing? Yeah, this is Xeon's team. So Ultra Num is this team here, or as usual, a slight variation. That's how it usually goes these days. And all these teams, they've kind of, the teams have all played with each other, right? So you're kind of at this point where everyone's been on a lot of multiple teams, so it's a Ultra Num variant. But that is what it is, yeah. Okay, looks like this is the final game of the first round. And what will happen? I don't know. I mean, it looks like the red team's going to win. Good job, red team. Victory, I believe, will be yours. Could they possibly throw? I mean, if they just camp around mid, they probably could. But I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to go and get some more kills over here. They're going to eliminate this Berserker. The Berserker has used some invulnerability, but is it going to be enough? Playing the defense trait line, actually. Trying to abuse all the interactions with the elite skill, I believe, is what they're going to be doing. Although that is, in fact, not the case whatsoever. In they go. They're going for the big attack. It was the savage instinct that was giving them the damage reduction. Going in Berserk, take no damage for a while. However, red team maintaining map control. Blue team will attempt to surge out of the base and go for a kill. One of the red players, the Guardian, in fact, is a bit vulnerable. Did just pop the elite skill, though. But, the red team not really helping out this poor support guard. Support guard just taking a beating over here. Taking the full onslaught from the Berserker. But actually, just isn't really dying here. But I think red team has maybe fumbled this fight a little bit. Looks like they might get away with it anyway. But, yeah, their poor Guardian just got completely destroyed. They're left completely alone. Running away in terror from the Berserker. But gets the rally of Brain Blow Genius being eliminated. And might just barely be able to hold on. All the 3 burns just barely don't do enough to get that kill. But, oh, the Soul Beast finishes the job. However, I think the fight is kind of resolved at this stage. They should be able to get this revival, and the blue team is too pressured to actually finish the job here. There's the res on the support guardian. Cooldowns are now back, and blue team should get cleaned up, and that's, broadly speaking, going to end the game. 1 kill, 2 kill, 3 kills. It might actually be a full team wipe, as Taz and Brainblow Genius may continue to commit into this battle. But unfortunately, they'll be in a 5v2, which is certainly not what you want. 5v2, not the way to win. That's for sure. Yeah. Fight on point XD. Well, actually, no. The whole fight on point thing is a really big meme. If you only fight on point, it's not a very good strategy. This is, when someone says fight on the points, this is a classic noob stink thing to say. It is certainly true that people can kind of get locked into fights away from the nodes. That absolutely can happen. You see it many a time in ranked. But it's not necessarily bad that that's happening, right? Like, it's a bit of a mistake to think that you should only fight on the points. Even though, of course, that is the main objective. The real key to winning Conquest is to secure kills. If you can get kills, you can then leverage that into map control, which is how you win the game. That is the biggest deciding factor in who wins a roster. And I've got the data to prove it, by the way, guys. I actually recorded a lot of data from a huge amount of automated tournaments. And I learned two things. A team that completes a successful far push at the start of a game has a massively increased chance of winning. And teams that get kills early on win a lot. And those two things sound obvious, but, I mean, now I guess we have them confirmed. Here we go. Next round. Now, where is the French team? They must be located. Here we go. I actually have no idea. Which one are they? I'm going to try and find them. Maybe there is no French team, guys. It's possible. Could be the case. How many teams are on EU? It is a 5-round automated tournament. Yeah, let's see Cranel here, actually. No, it's not Cranel. It is a good team, though, actually. This is Fallon, Cranel, Slycor, Avancine, and Zenworld, also known as Zenvo. So it's actually not this team. What's the win rate if you type "yo" at the start of a match? I mean, it probably doesn't really change that much. I don't think that will help. Oh, this actually might be a very good game. Let's see. I think this is a juicy one, right? Yeah, this is a game that we want to have a look at. And it might be very scary, actually, for the blue team here. But this is certainly one of the stronger teams in the tournament going up against I think, the strongest team in the tournament. Let's see if they can do it. Let's see if they can make anything happen on red team. It's going to be rank 55 Dragons. Zan, Nade, Scrapper, Draza on the Berserker here. It's going to be the condition damage Berserker. Of course, you know, there's some power variants out there as well, but this build, actually very disgusting. I'm really glad we got this back in the game. You know, the Skull Grinder returned to Guild Wars 2. Big fan of that. Misha on Chronomancer. Big damage Chronomancer here. Full Berserker, Illusions, Domination, and Chronomancer. Boyce on Soul Beast is what it's going to be here with the new and improved sword. Sword Warhorn and the Longbow. Very, very big DPS here. Boyce, just a big Ranger fan. Soul Beast may not even necessarily be that good, but Boyce, he loves himself some Ranger. He's here on the Snowman Char. And Frey on Tempest. You know, Tempest and Guardian pretty good right now. They're a lot closer together after some of the nerfs, particularly to Stoneheart, actually, in the Earth trait line to reduce its durability, but both still good. Tempest perhaps with a slight edge. And you can see, on the blue team, it's Enigma. Support Guardian, not a melon. On the Catalyst, it's going to be Arcane and Air with Berserker Amulet. It's actually not the Signet build. The Signet build has been successfully removed from this tournament, at least so far. Wolf Spider on the Untamed as usual, and we have Ione on the Spectre. It's going to be condition damage Spectre as usual, not the Power Spectre. And to Demolish, actually going with the Hollow, not the Scrapper. Very interesting there. A lot of variety. Has CMC actually balanced the game? Are we all wrong? Is the entire community wrong? Is CMC right? It actually might be possible at this point because we have a huge amount of variety in this setup, actually, rather remarkably. I have to say I'm impressed, but oh my goodness, that gravity well from Misha onto Demolish was just a little bit too much. A huge amount of damage. There's a lot of pressure on Frey there, so it was certainly a close fight. Frey may still go down here. Looks like he may well do. Boyce trying to comes in there for the support. Is it going to be enough? Frey does go down, but I think there's enough red team players to actually get the job done. He also used the self-res there, so it does not matter. He gets himself back up using that Renewal of Fire to revive himself without too much of an issue. And yeah, this fight very decisively now swinging in favor of the red team. It was a little bit close at the start there. It was a bit touch and go for red. They had some slightly scary moments, but they're able to weather the storm and then push out across the map. And they actually completely skip their own home node at the start, and that means that they're going to be able to directly push onto their opponents very easily while also reclaiming their own territory. So, blue, yeah, this is pretty much the worst it could have gone, because now they're going to be triple capped, and they have to actually wait for a full reset. Which is, it's not going to be ideal. You know, it's definitely not going to be ideal. There's a huge amount of damage. And I think that's going to be very scary for blue. Very hard to survive. We kind of have 3 one-shot builds almost on the red team here. Misha with the power, you know, the power chronomancer. Boyce with Soul Beast, which is mega bursty, right? We have Great Sword Warhorn, and of course one Wolfpack. So it's going to absolutely just demolish with this, because of course, basically what one Wolfpack does, it says every time you do a little bit of damage, it does more damage. So stuff like your Hunter's Call, for example, can completely devastate people if you're able to effectively land these 2 abilities together. And of course the Scrapper with the grenades, the grenade barrage. So the amount of damage output is kind of outrageous from all of these players. And of course the Berserker's no slouch either when it comes to DPS, although not quite in the same way as those other 3 builds. Regardless, we actually do see blue team pick up a kill onto Draza, but again, this is where they have to actually now convert it. They need to get more than this. They're going to have to essentially wipe their opponents, and they actually might be able to do that. I've got to say, red team may be playing a little bit over-aggressive here, maybe overextending themselves. Well, I say maybe, definitely. Going a little bit too aggro. This is, I mean, at this point, they might just kind of be trying to blast her and see how far they can push it. I think they're not super threatened in this game. I don't think they're feeling that threatened, but yeah. Maybe not the play, just to try and continuously fight on the enemy node, but they do salvage it relatively okay. Like, some of them are able to disengage, and you can see that the respawns are actually essentially going to be back before the blue team has really been able to escape spawn. And this is the power of kiting, right, and positioning. Like, what needed to happen there is basically everyone from red needed to be killed, but enough of them got away that they were able to just basically stall the blue team out to the point where they weren't even able to obtain a single node. And now they've turned it around as well. The Chronomancer and the Soul Beast just obliterating the core guard, picking up a kill on the Untamed as well, and Demolish is never going to be able to revive that. That is simply not going to happen. Boyce has the pig as well, guys. He's going to forage here. He's got the boar. He's having fun with the boar. Lands the Hunter's Call. Does end up dying. The Holosmith bringing in some pretty big DPS. Revive comes through from Frey, though. And I think red team will kind of continue this onslaught. The Holo from Demolish actually pumping very hard. Frey will not be able to save the day then. Despite picking up a kill, actually, Zan and Boyce do both go down there. Can blue team recover? To be honest, it's going to be a little bit of a tricky one. Draza still being annoying, and there's going to have to be an answer to this. Someone's going to have to 1v1 this Berserker. Of course, it is not going to be the support guard. It will have to be the Untamed. However, this Berserker build is actually very fearsome in these types of scenarios. You can look at those conditions. Look at that. That is absolutely disgusting. And of course, very sustaining as well. And this build is running Rabid Amulet, so very durable against the power damage from the Untamed. So will not be an easy fight. Will require the +1 here from the Spectre. Here it comes, I believe. Here we go. Could they get rid of Draza here? That will be a good start if they wanted to recover in this game. They actually might get it. The Spectre gets a very good poison burst. However, it looks like the cleanse and healing does come through from the Berserker. Some good kiting here by Draza. Can he get out of it? Yeah, it looks like he is actually able to disengage effectively. That would have been a big kill. Very unfortunate for blue. They weren't able to pick that up. That would, of course, freed up the Untamed to get into the team fight to bring some more DPS to the table. Now we'll be stuck in this 1v1. Is actually in a good spot to keep pressuring this. Actually, the Berserker, Draza might be potentially being a bit overconfident getting back into this fight. Has to be careful. There's a lot of damage from the Untamed. Never forget that. If a CC lands and the burst comes through, it will be very big. I also like, for some reason, the Untamed effect is just desynchronized from the actual UI there. Just notice that there. Oh boy, heal skill interrupted there from that Berserker, and you can see how many conditions are really getting applied. Now the pet goes in there. Here's a big burst. Is that going to be enough to actually find that kill? Well, I mean, maybe it doesn't even matter that much, actually, as, of course, the blue team end up losing that team fight. I think the amount of damage that red team has is just a little bit too much for the blue team. I don't think they're able to keep up. There's not enough damage output here. You know, the Catalyst is not what it once was. It does not have the same level of boon support either. It doesn't add that as much to the team fight. So just going for these like hyper-aggressive builds does appear to be working out pretty well for red team. It's a pretty close fight. The revive from Frey is coming through, and yeah, the rally by getting rid of Demolish actually doesn't end up saving the day there. So a good F-press there, some good team fight nerves from rank 55 Dragons. Enigma is going to go down in the end. And unfortunately, another pretty big team fight victory goes against the blue team. So rank 55 keeping their hold on this game. Yeah, the conditions do indeed keep ticking. They absolutely do with this build. There's a lot of condis. You need to be very careful of those skull grinders. Because if you get hit, I mean, you're not going to be happy, right? You're not going to have a good time. Just trust me on that. Just run away. Look, here we go. Let's see if one of these abilities is going to land. Yeah, Sword Offhand, actually, this one is a really spooky ability now. Like, Ada, well, like, you know, we're just going to keep buffing Sword Offhand until it becomes absolutely busted. And that's exactly what they did. And Sword Offhand now is absolutely disgusting. I think if you get hit by, I think Riposte is 8 bleeds now. 8 bleeds, guys, on Riposte. Absolutely disgusting. That's a lot of damage. You know, you got to watch out for that Riposte. And I think this is going to be the final fight. Blue team just going to go for it. One final encounter to finish off this game, but it's already not going in their favor. Skinny Engineer Demolish gets cleaved out almost instantaneously. The Spectre trying to get away, but being chased down, of course, by the highly mobile damage dealers of rank 55 Dragons. Boyce is a bit low, and Misha is down. They are very glassy, of course. Very glass can indeed. Enigma, though, is fully. He's getting cleaved out incredibly quickly here. Who's going to go down first, actually? It is going to be Enigma, so Boyce rallies himself up back into the fully alive state. And yeah, the swarm of 55, it's going to clean this up relatively easily. And that's going to be that, I think. Here we go. Yeah, the big CC, the immobilized lands, the Spectre falls. Everything from the blue team is dead. It is game over. Let's see if there are any other matches that are continuing. Any exciting games. See if we got anything going. Oh, well, yeah, Xeon's team won pretty decisively. What about this team? Yeah, 55 looking strong. And that's the thing, actually. It's important to note this, I think. That team, that Enigma team, is very, very good. They are all legend-rated players. So it's not like that team is just a bunch of scrubs. Quite the opposite, in fact. All of those players, I believe, have won the monthly AT. They're all exceptionally skilled. It's just that Rank 55 are, of course, some of the most experienced and legendary players in the history of the game. It's never going to be an easy game against them. It's always going to be extremely difficult to take a match off that particular roster. And there were definitely some moments, especially in that first fight, where there was some intensity there. There were definitely some low health bars on both sides, and blue team were just not quite able. And this is how it actually can be, to be honest. When you're dealing with PvP, a game that can be like a, you know, a 500 to 200 or 500 to 300 game, it can often be very, very close. And a particular fight can spiral the game in a completely different direction. You know, if you win a team fight by 1 health, you still win the team fight, right? That's kind of the nature of Guild Wars 2 PvP. So things can be extremely close, but the score might not necessarily reflect that. And I think that actually was a pretty close match there between those two teams. Definitely, obviously, you know, started going very aggressively towards 55's favor at the end there, but yeah, it can happen. Yeah. Is Catalyst finally dead? I wouldn't say it's dead. It's just not going to dominate in the same way. But the Signet build appears to have been mostly disposed of. That's the good news. Which I think is probably a good thing. However, we actually do have an exciting game between these two teams. Oh, look at this epic kiting here from the Catalyst. We love to see that. Is it going to be enough? I think it actually might be. This is a very good strategy. Sometimes if you go on spots like this, the enemy team will just pretend that you don't exist because they don't want to kind of embarrass themselves trying to do the same kite spot as you and then kind of failing the jumping puzzle. So it's a very good psychological warfare tactic to go for spots like that because people won't even try a lot of the time. But actually, blue team falling behind now a little bit. Red team picking up the 2-cap and accelerating into the late stages of this game. Ooh, Scrapper is down. It's being revived, though. Is that going to land? Oh, it's really close. Achievement. No, the Stomp comes through from the Thief, I believe, actually. Yeah, the Thief gets that Shadow Step Stomp or whatever. Maybe it was a Stealth Stomp, actually. And when I'll continue to proceed, getting rid of the blue team. Ooh, gets another kill. Is going to go for the Shadow Step Stomp. Should be able to land that without too much of an issue. And yes, they absolutely do that. And now blue, they're going to have to get out of this fight. They've got to disengage this. Blue did manage to get this decap here with the Ranger, which is certainly a very good idea. The Thief, of course, after picking up those kills, has now been freed up to roam the map with complete impunity. Scrapper returns, nearly obliterates that mech alongside the Ranger. And I think at this point, blue, yeah, I think they want to go for that kill. This is risky. If they get this, this is really good. But if they don't, then they've just completely screwed themselves. And oh no, it looks like the Ranger is actually going to go down. Oh, Stealth Stomp? Oh no! Yeah, the Stomp from the Mesmer. Yeah, the Mesmer had, of course, Distortion, or simply, well, being Mirage. Can just go ahead and use Mirage Cloak. Was able to get that kill before. Very close fight. That did not work out for blue. And now I think blue are in some serious trouble. They've got to start winning this game now. This could potentially be risky here from the red team to extend as far as they are here, but actually the Scrapper is so pressured that it does not matter. Yeah, easy work on Mirage, just obliterating there with that Greatsword Power Mirage. Quite an uncommon build. Basically, easy work is the only person who actually plays this, but does seem to make it work in a lot of these metagames, despite how it often maybe isn't the best build ever. But anyway, I think with that, with those flurry of kills, I think red team have got this one in the bag. We do have Nature's Binding grabbing this kill onto the Elementalist here on middle, and we also have the Warrior actually getting the cap on the Windmill, but I think a single node is going to be good enough here, especially as, of course, there's nothing to actually finish off this kill here on middle. This Ranger really going for it, but I believe the mech should be able to get the revival, and yes, the Soul Beast, of course, falls. There's no way they can handle a 1v3, and, well, now a 1v4 with the Thief moving in. Red getting middle. Neutrality here on the Mansion, but that does not matter. Easy work just has to run around in circles and be mildly annoying until the game ends. And that is the end of that. Boom. Scrapper goes for a last desperate stand, but it's not enough. Triple loss into disband FML. I do like that team name. I appreciate the team name. And, well, maybe that's their first loss. Maybe they won the first round. I don't know. We just don't know. All right, next round. Let's see. Now, the question is, which team is exciting to look at here? This round might be a little bit lower energy than the previous round. The Covenant of Summer Ants. Okay. Fresh Air Weaver is still mostly the same. And indeed, Fresh Air Catalyst. It's back, you know? It's back in the mix. Rank 55, Flamaz. Oh, is this maybe the French team? I was looking for them. Ah, it is the French. Here we go. Yes, this is where they were hiding then. All right. And this is where things can be exciting, because the French are known for coming up with some pretty novel ideas. And, you know, we already see the Scourge, in fact. Now, this is a build that has actually kind of come back into play. It can be unbelievably annoying to deal with. Very bunkery. Yeah, just Scourge doing Scourge things, right? This actually revives... What's actually really funny about this is one of the very few scenarios where this happens now. It actually... Transfusion revives more in PvP than it does in PvE right now. In PvE, it got nerfed to 1% per pulse, whereas in PvP, it's 2% per pulse, which is actually pretty interesting. But anyway... It is going to be the Scourge. The Blood Scourge. And we also have the Spectre. From Kill, we have Spree on his alt account. We're playing Support Guardian. Zeolith on the Catalyst. Hammer Catalyst, actually. Interesting to see that. And then we have Flamaz. I don't even know who this is, but it is a player on the Power Chronomancer. I have to say, I am not feeling... Maybe I'm going to be proven wrong here, right? Maybe I'm going to be proven wrong here. But I think this is not going to work even a tiny bit. I think the Scourge is just going to be completely free food for a lot of the stuff here. I think Necromancer in general is just horrible against a lot of these classes. And Scourge is particularly horrible. I think this comp could 100% work if it was a slower style, like a slightly slower metagame. But it's too fast. There's too much damage here. I just don't see any universe where this Scourge can survive whatsoever. Now, of course, we could potentially see a relog. Of course, Azaz could go to a Condi Herald, for example, maybe. Or something. But Hey, who knows? Maybe I will be proven to be a fool. Honestly, if there's any map where this can work, it is going to be Skyhammer. Necromancer loves Skyhammer because of all the kiting spots that allows it to survive a lot better. You know, Necromancer doesn't really have, well, I mean, yeah, have fun with that. Yeah. Necromancer not really having a lot of active defense, you know, like a block or an extra evade frame or an invuln or something like that. So has to rely on terrain to survive. And, well, yeah, I'm not going to lie, that's kind of just about what I was expecting there. There really is not going to be that... There's just no counterplay, really, for the Scourge. The Scourge can't do anything against half of the red team. The Scourge is totally worthless versus the Scrapper, the Chrono, and the Soul Beast. So I think this is just going to be a bit of a comp diff here. I think the kind of game plan for Blue Team was to have that, you know, kind of that classic French style. They love the team fights. They love to have the long, big, value team fights. And the red team is just not going to enable that. They have a much more roaming-oriented style. They want to be around the map, picking up kills everywhere, very fast classes, loads of burst damage. It's honestly 55, right? That's what they love. This is the very classic rank 55 playstyle, to be honest. And yeah, it's going to kind of shut down this style. Maybe we can see some kind of big brain rotations to get the Scourge into a position where it can generate some value. I mean, honestly, I don't think it can really contest the Berserker. I mean, of course, it has a lot of condition cleanse, but I just don't think it can stand on the point up to against that. The sustain is not going to be high enough, I don't think. Well, yeah, Scourge was immortal because it was bugged. In the previous patch, guys, it was bugged. The barrier on the F1 here, this thing, it was like 5k for some weird reason. The digit was just wrong. They slipped a digit on the number. It was a bit ridiculous. But maybe we have spoken a little bit too soon here, as the blue team actually do have the advantage in this matchup. You know, red team, you know, they are very aggressively pushing for kills, but they haven't been able to actually get that many nodes just yet. And that is also kind of down to, again, a big feature, I think, of the French play, of the French Worms play, which is essentially what this blue team is. And that's that they love to play 3 nodes, right? And that will naturally lead to a slower paced game, which, you know, kind of hence the play style that the blue team has gone for here. They love to always push that 3rd node, and we actually have this Hammer Catalyst 1v1ing here. And there isn't much of a response to that because, of course, Draza is kind of doing the same thing. And, yeah, I don't think Boyce is really going to want to 1v1 into a Catalyst on a Soul Beast. Soul Beast, of course, there is a duelist build for Soul Beast, but Boyce is not currently playing it. And this Catalyst, yeah, certainly going to be a bit of a menace here. You can see Boyce not really intending to engage into that. A revival is being attempted here, but surely there is no universe in where that succeeds. And yeah, Az is, of course, also in a huge amount of difficulty here. Tries to kite away, has a fear mark and might hold on. A spree going for the big heal. Does have the revive signet up, so maybe the Scourge can hold. If the Scourge can hold all the damage, then maybe the Spectre and the Chronomancer off respawn can get something done here in this fight. Az is holding, but there's nothing left from the support. It's going to have to be the revive signet. Here it comes. Will it get interrupted? I don't think it will. So that will be a revival, but is that really going to be enough? There's just so much pressure. Boyce just keeps on pushing. However, Misha is getting low, and oh my god, they've actually done it. The French hold. Maybe a little bit too much of an aggressive push here from rank 55. They were not able to get rid of that Scourge. Have the French seen something that we haven't? Maybe they have. They actually have been able to win the team fight. The Scourge has done it. Exclamation mark Worms in the chat. They make it happen. 55 push their luck a bit too much. And this is going to be an interesting matchup. We are now going to see this 1v1. The Catalyst, Hammer Catalyst into the Berserker here. And yeah, you honestly never want to count the French out. The French are very well known to have a very keen mind when it comes to the theory craft. It is often the French that drive the meta game. They got some smart players on that team. Of course, he's not playing it. Well, yeah. Not always playing on the French roster, but behind a lot of the French Worms' power often is Kaz's very big brain player. Comes up with a lot of the cutting edge, disgusting builds for PvP. But here we go. The French actually up now by 30 points, and yeah, the Berserker is actually not... It looks like these players aren't really able to kill each other whatsoever, so it might just be a neutral 1v1 until the Spectre moves in. Of course, there is a Spectre herbal, a thief, for this blue team. There's no thief for red, and that does, of course, kind of inhibit the rotational capacity here of the red team a little bit, and that extra mobility from Killmage here is going to be super annoying. You can see getting that decap. So as long as blue are actually able to hold on to mid, they are in an okay spot. However, we do have the Chronomancer on blue going down, so there's no revival for that available. That is good. Oh, a nice transfuse. Does kind of at least delay the storm, but of course no real potential to revive that. However, blue team, can they actually hold on? If they can just hold on a little bit, there is a Ghastly Breach available. That might be enough to actually buffer the Guardian to get out of here. And of course the Well of Darkness. Yeah, blue team. I think the French have actually found something pretty exciting here. Now, I will say that if these two teams do encounter each other on a different map, things may change. Because again, I do think Skyhammer is really putting in some work here. Not to take any credit away, of course, from the blue team. They are playing this out very intelligently. They've really identified how they're going to win this game, if they are going to win this game. However, that support guard going down is not good. And, the Spectre was, well, yeah, rather, the Catalyst is going to be eliminated. That Soul Beast coming in as kind of role-playing as a thief there, of course, is Boys. He is pretty fast, actually. You know, with sword and greatsword. Very highly mobile build, actually, on Soul Beast. Filling that roaming role very nicely. Chronomancer is going to have a really tough time surviving this. Of course, we do have the support now back, so I think the Chrono might barely be able to hang on. Yeah, looks like they will be able to survive without too much of an issue. And 55 have started to actually kind of crawl back into the game. Ooh, this could be a bit scary for Boyce. He pops the stability, seeing the Earth Shield there, I think. We're being worried about getting CC'd or pulled in by the shield. However, that might be a little bit too much to handle, even for Boyce. It is. Frey gets the glyph, though, has stability, so that's not going to get interrupted yet. Very well played there, of course, by Frey. And that gets Boyce back on his feet, ready to blast. Let's see. However, of course, we do have cooldowns now being expended by red team in order to get that player back up. Do we have the Signet available for Esprit? We do, but oh wow. You will not be able to use the Signet on yourself, unfortunately. You are dead. Gets caught by that Gravity Well from Misha, the Master of Disaster. Picks up that kill almost instantaneously. That burst damage really bringing the pain. And yeah, now we kind of do see the blue team get destabilized. And this is the win condition for red. Like, what was getting a little bit spooky about blue team's positioning early on was that they were starting to lock down the map. They were starting to have these very long fights where the cooldowns would just eventually run out for red team and they would slowly die. But now that the game is sped up a little bit, we have some more fluidity in the kills. That is where red team's plan really comes into play here, right? Like securing kill after kill. And I think blue might need to slow down a bit. Like, I think the blue team, they need to pump the brakes a bit because they're at this point, they're kind of feeding into their opponents almost. As you can see, they're coming off respawn, but they're running into fights where they're already dead. We see the Scourge and the Guardian downstate. And now look at this. We now have the Chronomancer and the Catalyst kind of in no man's land. They're trying to turn it around onto Misha here. Let's see if they can do that. The support is available, I believe, from Frey. There's no revive, so this might be a bit tricky to handle. So we might see a confirmed killer onto Misha. Looks like Boyce might go for the revive. No, they're going to go for a counter kill, but I'm not sure if that's enough, actually. They're going to try and hold Misha. They're holding Misha. Is it enough, though? That's a very, very nice hold there from Draza, Frey, and Boyce. Oh, that was beautiful. Team coordination there. Very nice. That was so good. Oh, what a fantastic response. Like, that is kind of like the veteran grit you see from 55. They all identified the win condition there immediately. Definitely the correct play. Go for the hold while the cleave comes through. Very, very nice. Oh, man, that was brutal, actually, from 55. That was a very good comeback position for the French Worms there to actually pick up that kill. But very good decision-making from red team there. Immediately identifying how to recover that scenario, and they get that done. We do see Frey now dead, I believe. He's in Vapor. So if the French can win this team fight, that's good. But you can already see how many points they've bled out at this point. They really wanted that kill beforehand. And honestly, they need to feed a little bit less earlier on in the game. 55, find the answer. I'm going to drink my tea. Nice. Very good. Very, 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 very good. Still, I mean, I'm looking at the score. It's going to be a little tricky to come back because, and this is one of the disadvantages of playing a slightly slower style, is that one of the trade-offs you play with having a more defensive composition that can hold on to points quite effectively and is quite sturdy is that you have a lot less comeback potential. Is that once you're behind, it can be very difficult to not be behind. anymore. And that's kind of the issue that the French Worms are in right now, is that they had a really nice fight there. Red team disengaged well, of course. They only lost Frey, so they were able to get out of that situation and not lose too many players. But the problem is that the point deficit is quite significant with only 4 minutes left. And it's very difficult for blue team to generate enough momentum to actually recover this. If Frey dies again, there's some potential, but realistically, blue team kind of need a triple cap here. So they need to pick up probably 2 to 3 kills in one of these fights and then get their thief out on the map. And they find Frey. That's a start, actually. But they need more than that. That's not good enough. They've got to get rid of some other players. Frey will fall, but now we need to see Boyce and Zan die. And well, I think getting rid of Misha would be huge. But that's not going to happen. He's not even in the fight anymore. He completely got that disengage away with that blink. But yeah, they've got it. They need more than this. That's not good enough. They just get Frey. But yeah, Zan and Boyce successfully disengaged that. Draza, it looks like he's completely dead here. Yep, that's the end of him. That's good, actually. Oh, they've got to stomp it, though. Oh, no, off respawn. Because Frey, I saw him walking there. Yeah, that was actually, that was also probably quite nice. I think Draza recognized the respawn was going to come through there. So he walked into line of sight. Instead of dying on the node there, he walked into line of sight so Frey could get the revival on him. And that's exactly what ended up happening. And honestly, it's going to be hard to recover from that. Now, Frey is caught here. This definitely sucks. He can't really do anything against the Spectre, obviously. As a support player, has to basically burn everything. That definitely sucks. But again, it's 3 minutes on the clock. And blue team has still not had the time. They've been too pressured. They haven't had the ability to go for point A. Frey does get destroyed, which is incredibly unsurprising. But yeah, the fight on mid is lost as a Spree and Azaz. And of course, the Chronomancer has completely fallen, unfortunately. That is going to be the end of that for the blue team. They are dead. Yeah, this is Worms, guys. This is French Worms, essentially. Now, they're not out, of course. This is the Swiss part of the tournament, so it's not done. But actually, I've got to say, there was a bit of a flash of brilliance here. It certainly did appear to be working early on. Perhaps with some better execution, I think we may be able to see some victory coming through there. But I do think this is somewhat map-reliant of a composition. I think we could see this successfully work on a map like Kylo. However, if they roll Temple, this strategy will simply not work. There's just no way. Rank 55 Dragons composition, however, I think is a little bit more flexible. Is pretty happy with basically any map that could possibly drop. Again, I imagine this is a map that they're probably not super happy about, actually. Again, kind of for the inverted reason that blue team are probably very happy about seeing Skyhammer. You know, again, like they just... It's going to be slightly harder for these players to hunt down and kill the kind of key team fight actors like the Scourge and the Guardian here compared to other maps. But yeah. There you go. And yeah, but Staff is standard for support tempers. It has been for a while now. The key changes that happened was there was a lot more healing and Condi Cleanser added to Healing Rain. So Healing Rain heals per condition removed, and it's 2 Condis. AoE Frost Aura on Staff 4, and Stability. You now get AoE Stability on Magnetic Aura Conversion, right? Like this Magnetic Aura thing gives AoE Stability. So a really kind of key change there. And that enabled this Staff-style build. And there it is. I think a pretty close match there. That really could have gone the other way very easily, I think, between those two teams. You can see here in the early game, very, very close. But eventually, look at those skulls. This is where 55 really opened it up. They found the targets they were looking for, picked up those kills, and managed to blast their way to victory. That's how it is. Relic of Brilliance. On the usage of a healing ability, you spawn 5 worms to your side. True. Chef Champagne there with the Prime. Nice. Yeah. Yes. Well, we'll be seeing more from the French later. Maybe they've got some more tricks up their sleeves later on. That was a slow game, too. That was the only one we're going to see there. Ah, Floor versus Xeon. Let's take a look. Oh, this is annoying. I want to watch both of these. This is super annoying. I want to see Floor versus Xeon, but we also definitely want to see the Z Squadron as well. Yeah. The Z Squadron. Okay. What have we got here, gamers? What have we got here? I'll tell you what we've got. We have Temple of the Silent Storm. And we have an exciting matchup. It is Enigma. It is not a melon. It is Wolf Spider. It is. What are these names? These names are absolutely just insane. And demolish. Going up against the French. And look at this other team, though. I'm really tempted to watch the other game, man. You know, one of them needs to just stall the game out so I can watch both of them. That's what we've really got to see here. Is Syndra not in rank 55 anymore? I mean, you can only have 5 people in the team, right? Wait, why is it 4 Spectres? What the hell is going on here? Guys, what is this play here? I've got to watch this game. We've got to watch this one, guys. We have to. We have Xeon on Condi Berserker, Gornet on the Scourge. Slightly different setup, actually, to Az's, but somewhat similar. We have Floody on the Holosmith. We have Core Guardian from Sanoj. Okay? Boom. I presume this is Fly, actually, maybe, on an alt account. And then Cabablanca on the Herald. Going against Floor on Bladesworn, Sakaya Spectre #1. Condi Spectre. Syndrana, Power Spectre. Maya, Condi Spectre. And Riken on Condi Spectre. We have a 4 Spectre setup here. Very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. I'm not sure if this is really going to work out super well. Because, of course, they're very, very fast. But I'm not totally sure if they're going to be able to engage their opponents in these team fights super well. Of course, they can dodge that pretty well by being fast. And this is certainly a good map to do it. And I think the Necromancer, again, you know, poor old Gornet is going to have a bit of a rough time. He's going to be basically... We may not see him leave mid the entire game. He is simply going to be too slow. I think that was actually a really funny moment there. We actually saw Riken just kind of walk onto the node and just die to the Scourge. It's like, well, you know, I guess I might as well try and make it to the node, I guess. You know, that's going to be that. And so far, we do actually have a bit of an edge towards the blue team here. And I think a big part of that is simply because the blue team is going to be able to destabilize their opponents pretty well. Actually, a revive there from the Guardian was actually not good enough. Did go for that. It was maybe a little bit too greedy there onto Xeon. It was not enough. And now both those players are in the down state. That's the end of that. And blue team, is Spectre overpowered? Certainly, if any map is... If you're going to play 4 Spectres on any map, this is definitely going to be that particular map. I'm just not liking the Scourge. Am I missing something? Seriously, maybe someone can fill me in. But the Scourge, to me, seems like utter garbage. I don't know. Like, I'm not seeing it, guys. It looks like trash. Gornet, amazing player, obviously. One of the best Necros in the game. But I think it is just not good. And also, Floody playing Herald... no, sorry, Cabablanca playing Herald. What are we doing here? Okay, you know, it's not like 4 years ago. You know, we've moved past this one. Yeah. Floody now in the down state, and I think we are actually going to see the 4 Spectre team maybe pull off a win here. Floor going to hold on, but the Spectres will surely arrive soon. Support from Maya, the barrier actually pretty damn juicy onto this Bladesworn, of course. Now Syndra moving in as well to bring some extra DPS here. Here we go. Floor trying to hold on. Oh, it's going to be a bit of a lot of damage coming through there from the red team. Can he hold on? Trying to kite away. Has a heal skill in 1 second. Oh, is holding. Gets the move from there. Shake it off has now been activated, or it's available. And wow. Floor. Wow. I mean, that is just... This, guys, is how I know that Floor is a rank 1 god of PvP gamer. You know what I'm saying, guys? Real rank 1 gameplay mechanics right there. We love to see that. But anyway, now the fight is going to start going again here. The Spectres were able to save the day just barely. And Flores is standing on the point 1v3 at this point. The Spectres just flitting around like flies, not really wanting to engage this completely directly. Again, that support will be a bit of a problem for blue team in these like really big anchor fights. But does it actually even matter? They just aren't seeming to be able to actually get any kills onto these Spectres whatsoever. They are just completely running circles around there. Look at the mobility. Everyone is porting everywhere. You'd think this is actually like a game infested with hackers. But no, they're just all playing Thief. And in fact, now they actually feel like they feel confident to actually pounce on this team fight. The fourth Thief has now arrived, and here it is. Well, I guess it's the third Thief, and then one Warrior. Can they do it? It's an all-out massive team fight here. We now have a 4v4 situation, but I think the red team are actually going to lose. I think the Herald is just trying to play. He's like, why can't I do this? Well, it's because you're an 8, you know, you're not good anymore, Herald, I'm afraid. You don't do anything. Might be able to get the kill on one of the Spectres. Yeah, Riken does go down. Of course, there's no support for blue, so they can't really revive that, but that's the end of that, really. Floody is dead. The support guard might be able to get the res here. Here comes the Signet. Will it get interrupted? It will not. Out of range of the Siphon, or maybe Siphon's simply not available. So Floody holds on. But still, this node has not been captured. And yeah, the blue team's comp is just a little bit too fast here. There's not enough kill potential onto any of these players coming through from red, as you can clearly see here. They just weren't able to get rid of Floor. Of course, Bladesworn, quite a tanky build, quite hard to get rid of. And there's no real answer to it. Of course, there is Xeon. Xeon is basically going to be the kind of duelist here, but it's not enough. Oh, look at the damage output there from Maya. Maya comes in. The Delirium claims you. Syndrome moves in. Look, 3 Spectres are all in Shroud at the same time right now, picking up that kill almost immediately. Of course, this build is a power build from Synd. There's a lot of DPS, a huge amount of damage when these abilities land. And that's going to be this node, once again, controlled by the blue team. Yeah, I mean, red it's just not really working. It's not working at all. To be honest. Gauntlet, like I said, guys, he can't leave mid. You know, if he goes anywhere, it's not really going to work out for him. I mean, does this build actually do anything? I mean, maybe, I don't know. I mean, look, he's kind of doing some damage to this. You know, the well, it's kind of pumping, I guess. But unfortunately, oh no! The thieves have arrived. And I don't think that's going to be very enjoyable for the Scourge to deal with. Yep. That is the end of that. And Carablanca, he's going to have a lot of fun. On Herald, you know, there's one thing, guys, that Power Herald just absolutely loves. Power Herald loves playing against bursty Condi builds. It's actually one of the things that it can do really well against. Except, actually, no. It is actually worthless against bursty Condi builds. Unfortunate. Yeah, he's like, I don't want to fight you. Can we maybe have a peace treaty? What if we just were friends instead? He's going to go for it now to try and take out Maya, but I think that's going to be easier said than done. Gauntlet does move in, and that will certainly help. But, oh, bottom buff actually just got snagged there by blue team as well. This is going from bad to worse. I think this game is over. I don't think I want to prolong the suffering of blue team any longer. Let's go and see rank 55. Actually, let's go and see the Flamaz versus the Z Squadron. Oh, wow. Oh, dear. The French are actually in trouble. It's going to be Enigma's team actually picking up some big wins here. Again, I do think this is a huge part of the map. Look at the comp here. I do not think this comp works on this map. We saw it kind of work out on Skyhammer, but I think Scourge is just so bad on this map because Necro is usually slow, but Scourge is the slowest of all the slow builds. And it's just basically a 4v5, I think, on this map. And yeah, blue team with a far superior composition, in my opinion, especially with this Thief. There's no... Oh my god. Playing Temple with no Thief. Yeah, okay. Good luck with that. And that's going to be the end of that. Red team, they're dead. Yeah. Game over. ZS Squadron. Z Squadron. Or maybe it's Z Squadron. I don't know. But they win. Game over. You know, I have got to tell you guys something. I have a confession to make. I want you to think about the balance patch. And you know that balance change that you hate? Like, you know, your least favorite one. Bring up the notes right now and just think about the least favorite one. Okay? Roy did it. It was Roy. There you go. That's it. Ooh. An exciting matchup here. We have the red team. One of the Twitch chatters, in fact, on red team, going up against blue. Who's going to actually make this happen? Well, it looks like, I think blue should have this, because they have the point advantage, and they just picked up 2 kills. They also now have that middle no bigs. Oh, no! Oh, the red catalyst actually fell down and will no longer be able to contest this top buff, and that means Stillness is going to get locked in there by the blue team, and that should honestly guarantee the win. That is 4 points every 2 seconds now on that tick. Absolutely insane gameplay. And yeah, blue are very quickly... At this point, if I'm the blue team, you just stand on the node, because you're going to get so many points just from standing here. Just the tick is going to be enough to get the job done here, I think. Do not concede this middle node. Stand on it until the game ends if you know what's good for you. Meanwhile, they even have their Reaper grabbing the temple over here, while the altar is going to be defended by this core Revenant, and that is going to be the end of the game. Blue team, as soon as I join the game, just run away with it. Wow, that is the caster cursed. Completely true. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Wow. Let's continue to the next game. Let's continue. Have we got any other matches going on? Let's see. This one. Red team are going to win this. Or are they? Yeah. Yeah. Well, are they going to win? The Deadeye... Watch this Deadeye carry. Deadeye comes in. Here we go. Oh, kneeling now. Okay. Here we go. Ooh, top buff. Look at this kill. Deadeye POV. I'm going first person mode, guys. Here we go. Let's do this. Take him down. Boom. Locks in the kill. Boom. Shadow Step Storms on the platform there. Honestly, I like that. Needs the decap, though. They've got to decap this node here. The Thief's got to go for it. He sees it. Here we go. Oh, no. Red team. No. Dude, this is so good from Red. Why don't people play in ranked like this? Look. Look how smart they are. They're like, we win on 1. Just go 1. Oh, no. Red team with the actual 5-head strat. So many players who have just inted and potentially thrown the game here. But it's going to be an all-out 5v5 to finish the game. There's about 40 seconds left. They've got to get this cap. Oh, no, but the Deadey's already down. Blue team, they're going to go for this team fight. Can they make it happen? The Thief, though, is in the downstate. We have a very, very low player on Red. There's and yet, but the Storm comes through. Red team actually started to crumble. Oh, my God. Could Blue team somehow actually win this game? Look at all these kills they've scored. But they've got to get the decap. They've got seconds. They've got 10 seconds. No, it's not enough. Red are going to hold, and blue team are actually crumbling here. Oh, imagine if the Thief had survived a bit longer. They maybe could have won, but they're not going to be able to pull that off. And red team get the job done. Oh, that was actually really close. Really close game. Wow. Insane. The dream became a nightmare. I'm afraid it did. The Thief put her on the node so we could get clean. I mean, to be fair, it's hard to survive in a big fight like that on Thief. But yeah, the Thief, unfortunately, was not able to generate value there. You know, floor versus 55 dragons. Will 4 specters be the answer to rank 55? Yeah, not sure about that one, but I guess we're about to find out. We are indeed about to find out. Let me in the game. I want to see. I want to see what's going on. Like raw gold? Yeah, but that's irrelevant. The truth is that raw gold is not actually that exciting. As much as I hate to say this, fixating on raw gold is kind of one of the classic noob mistakes in Guild Wars 2. And again, I'll be very brutal here. It essentially exposes a very big failure to understand the Guild Wars 2 economy and how gold works in the game. Raw gold is kind of irrelevant. The only thing that's relevant is how much value you can generate per hour while playing the game. Fixating on this number here is actually a classic noob mistake. You know what? That's okay. 100 CM with viewers when? Honestly, probably never, because I don't really want to play with people who int. And I think if I did 100 CM with viewers, it would almost certainly be leeches getting into the runs. Yeah. One thing that I see a lot is that people who basically get exiled from other communities for leeching will often try and get runs off streamers. That's very common, actually. Yeah. Here we go. Thinking about value generated per hour as a world versus world player. I mean, it's actually pretty good in world versus world. There's a lot of things in world versus world that actually generate a good amount of value per hour. It's, again, this is one of the things that just means that, yeah, you need to understand the world versus world reward system a lot better, actually. It's not that bad. The value per hour is pretty okay, especially with a lot of the new reworks and changes. I saved a huge amount of money on Ascended gear on Zero to Hero using World versus World, actually. Specifically using the Grandmaster Mark shards were very, very efficient when combined with fractals. I was able to gear my characters, or some of my characters, for essentially 0 gold. Yeah. And of course, you have all the time you save with unlocking hero points and stuff. It's pretty good. Anyway, never mind this game. I want to see this one. Boom. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to expect in this game. It's probably going to be weird and chaotic. As much as I would like to see 4 Spectres just completely dominate the game, I'm not feeling overly optimistic about it. I don't think it will really work against a team of the caliber that we're dealing with here. There's also no Necromancer on the red team. And I would say that's a very big advantage for them compared to the previous matchups that the blue team has actually encountered. And there's one thing here, actually, that is very scary. There's a nice no-scope there by Zan. Do you know what the problem is here? Red team is actually quite fast, right? Like, you know, a big part of the blue team functioning so well in some of the previous games was the speed. The Thieves are very fast. But here's the problem. Red team is actually fast as well. They're not as fast as Thief, obviously, but Chrono's pretty fast, Soul Beast is fast, Scrapper is fast. So a lot of the advantage that blue team has doesn't exist here, right? They are not going to be able to get value out of that in the same way. Now, they're able to get Frey, which is obviously quite nice, but I think we're just going to see red team disengage away from this almost immediately. So it's not going to be a 500-0 situation as Frey has now been defeated. But again, are there going to be any more kills? Doesn't look like it. Draza persisting around. Boyce just backing off a little bit, playing relatively safe. And you can see that they are just disengaging very effectively and not allowing their opponents to get any more kills than is absolutely necessary. And yeah, that's kind of exactly what's going on here. I don't think there's really that much hope whatsoever, I think, for the blue team to actually win this game. 4 Spectres, as funny as it is, it's going to be a little bit of a meme, right? A bit of a meme, I'm afraid. And that's that. The Scrapper build, I think it's the standard Scrapper build that's being played right now. We have Explosive Tools and Scrapper. Adrenal Implant, 50% Endurance Regeneration, guys. Wow. Zan just dodging all over the place like a complete lunatic. We love to see it. And look at that. Kinetic accelerators. Actually a pretty hype trait in PvP. Look at that. Might and Fury whenever you do a finisher, blaster or elite finisher. How exciting is that? I think that is pretty exciting. I would say so anyway. And yeah, tools being utilized for the condition cleanse here. This is actually this is definitely the hope of CMC, was to basically kind of NGs would play alchemy all the time to handle conditions, but now that tools gives you a condi cleanse on every single tool belt skill usage, obviously a lot more kind of like versatility in picking up this trait line as well. And that's how it is. Big damage. Yeah, red team just kind of running around blasting, getting kills left and right. The thieves are just, yeah, they're not going to be able to really contest effectively here. There's no meat on the bones of the blue team's composition, even though this is a very thief-favored map here, and there's no thief for the red team. Again, it's almost like they have enough mobility that they don't really require the thief. The thief is surplus to requirements, in a sense, in the red team's comp. They could, of course, play a thief. There are multiple players on red team who could play thief, right? Draza, Misha and Frey have all played Thief in previous matchups, actually. Previous team setups these players have had. Of course, Boyce could play Thief as well. I think the only player who is, you know, Zan is a big NG fan. NG and Warrior, I think. But yeah, I mean, Zan would obviously play anything if it was required, of course. Like, if, you know, if NG was like complete trash, he'd play something else, obviously. But Zan is definitely the most engineer. You know, he's the most locked. He's the main. He's an NG main, guys. I guess Misha is a big Mesmer enjoyer. I think anytime Mesmer is good, Misha will play Mesmer, but again, he's also more than willing to basically play anything that's required in order to get the job done and win the game. But yeah, I think it's, look, guys, I hate to say this, but I think we actually have to rely on Enigma to take out 55. I think it's the only way. It's going to have to be Enigma's team. They're going to have to find some special source. I do not see the French's composition working here. Unless they, maybe if they manage to roll Skyhammer in the finals. I think that would be the only way. The only way. Yeah. Because I don't think anyone else can make it happen. That means NG is in a rough spot. No, NG is actually good right now. Specifically, Scrapper is good. And actually, Hollow seems pretty good as well, actually. I think both of those builds are good. I think Scrapper is very good right now, and Hollowsmith is pretty good right now. Don't count the worms out. Yeah, I mean, maybe they've got something hidden up their sleeve. But it's going to have to be a big secret. I hope they've got another plan, I really do. But I don't think it's going to be easy for them to win. Spez, though, with the prime, I appreciate that. Yeah, of course, Worms winning this matchup here. As you can see, into Cranel. It's working out pretty well. And we do see a Herald here from Azaz, although this might be because this is perhaps a slightly easier game, and of course, Azaz is a big Revenant fan overall. I don't see Power Herald being played up against 55. Honestly, Power Herald into 55's comp, that does not sound like much fun. And this is one of the issues with PvP right now. I would say this is the fundamental problem. There's like the gods. Almost every spec is playable in PvP. But there's a big caveat to that. So you have like the good specs that are like, you know what, you can play this in ranked and it will honestly work out pretty well, and you can pump and you can blast. But then above that, you have the god specs. And if you try and play the good specs into the god specs, it's not very enjoyable. You will get completely crushed, especially in a more organized format. That's kind of the state of PvP. I go like, oh man, look, Azaz is blasting on the Herald, right? And then you see him play Herald or Scourge into, you know, the meta comp, and it's like, oh, this class is completely worthless garbage. Unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate stuff. Let's continue. You know, yeah, it is a little bit, it's the same with Willbender. Like, Willbender in ranked is like, ah, yes, very nice. Willbender in competitive, ooh, no. That's not where you want to be. It's not ideal. Revenant? I think... Is Rev the worst spec in PvP right now? I think it actually still might... Or worst profession in PvP. I think it still might be. In fact, almost certainly. I don't think there are that many good Rev builds. I think... Weirdly enough, I still feel that... maybe you can make Condi Herald work. I don't think Vindicate is good right now. I don't think Power... Oh, yeah, and dude, Necro sucks right now. Yeah, it is Necro. Yeah, because last patch, Condi Reaper was actually kind of good. Not amazing in high-level play because it's too, a little bit too vulnerable, but I'd say it was pretty good. But then that got nerfed. Harbinger isn't good right now. Core isn't good right now. Scourge, I don't see it. Some people think Scourge is good. I don't, personally, I'm not seeing it. But yeah, Necro is bad. Currently, to be fair, I want to be clear, I've got to be specific. In ranked, honestly, you'll be fine playing your Condi Reaper, but in competitive play, a lot of the weaknesses of that build will really come to light. And without that corruption pressure to basically inhibit the damage output, so applying, getting that weakness, getting that blind, right, getting that cripple, right, like corrupting the boons, removing, kind of punishing the opponent, that was a big part of the build's survivability. And without that corruption, it's just too vulnerable and doesn't really have the damage output anymore. You can make super bunker builds on Rev. You absolutely can, but I don't think bunker will really work into a comp like 55, right? Like the really aggressive stuff is just going to do nothing. You'll just die. There's no way you can out bunker Scrapper, Power Chrono, and Soul Beast. Like, good luck out bunkering that. Let's get in there. Actually, a very close game. Oh! Is there any way that red team can recover? They've got a decap middle. Oh, but there's two players here. The Dragon Hunter and the Guardian holding on to middle. They're standing on the point. They're winning the game for their team. They might die, but it doesn't matter. 501. Krusty Krab. Damage sponge strategy. It's game over. A very intense matchup there, as you can see, though. 474 to 501. Very good. And here's our top 8. 55 versus Ixa. Xeon versus Rayquan. Floor versus Rem. And Z... Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, no. Oh, no. This is so bad. I don't believe it. We actually have, in my opinion, probably some of the best hopes to take 55. They're up against each other. It's going to be Enigma versus French. Round 1. Ooh, it's Kylo. That's spicy. This is actually one of the maps where I think maybe the Necro can work. Oh, that actually really sucks that these teams are going to eliminate. Of course, with as many powerful players, there's going to be some early eliminations, right? But let's see what we can do here. Or are they going to move away? They are going to move away from it. They're going to have Az's on Power Herald. I mean, I don't know. Look, gamers, I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say it. In fact, you know what? That was a lie. I do want to say this. When you are playing Power Herald, you know you're in trouble. Okay? Like, when you go, oh, man, Scourge is not working. What can I relog to? Oh, Power Herald. That's how you know that, one, Scourge is trash, and secondly, oh boy, we're in a situation. This is not ideal. Not sure about this one. But never mind. We'll see what's going to happen here. We have got the Chronomancer. We've got the Ultimate Dark Worm on Herald. If anyone can make Rev work, it is going to be Az's, that's for sure. We have Zeolith on the Hammer Catalyst. We have... What even is this name? What is this name? We have Key, also known as a Spree. And then we have Kill on the Oh, no, the Soul Beast. I was about to say Untamed. But no, it is in fact going to be the Soul Beast. All right, here we go. The stealth is coming through. On the blue team, we've got Enigma on Support Guard. We have Notamelon on Catalyst. We have Wolf Spider on Untamed. We have Ione on the Spectre. And Demolish on the Holosmith. Yes, Esprit, also known as E-Spirit. And blue team actually going for the push. Now, I do expect to see the French go for a 3-node play, but actually, the French immediately punished the push by taking out Wolf Spider. That's a very nice pickup there for red team. That defensive play, actually a little bit almost uncharacteristic for them. I think they caught their opponents off guard. Oh no, the port! Oh no! What? I'm sorry, Azus. I promise I did not know that was going to happen. Okay, very unfortunate. Does not get the port there on Shiro. Sometimes the terrain wins. You hate to see that. Definitely a good start here, though, for the French. And they're just going on the warpath, very aggressive. Almost a little bit opposite to their previous style. This, you know, we see the Revenant just going straight for the kill onto this Herald. Enigma trying to run away, gets a very nice knockback. The peel from the team is here, but actually Enigma's still in trouble. Has to pop the invulnerability. Red team now in, blue team in full retreat, trying to hold on. Of course, they have their respawn back, and Az has got to be very, very careful. It's quite vulnerable. On that, Herald pops the heal skill. There's the Signet there from Esprit. Will it land? Yes, it will. There's the revive. Can red team now stabilize this fight? They got pushed back a little bit there. They're trying to find some DPS onto Demolish. Enigma, though, the support is downstate. The Chronomancer was able to get a pick off there, I think, during all of that chaos. And red team secure themselves the team fight victory, and Demolish falls as well. Ooh. Some very nice play here out of the French. The Worms looking good. Okay. What's happening? I don't know. Well, I mean, actually, I do know. I don't know why I would say that. I'm trying to ramp up the suspense. What's actually happening is blue team is doing something quite clever. They are regrouping instead of feeding into their opponents. Very often in games, you will see, you know, maybe you've seen this in ranked. You know, you wipe, and your team basically just decides to go in 1v5 over and over again until the game is over. Well, blue team is not doing that. Although they kind of, well, I mean, Wolf Spider did die. I mean, this is pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie, blue team is, this is bad. This is very bad, actually, for them. I wouldn't say they're dead yet, but they're getting there. You know, they've got one foot in the grave. Oh, Catalyst! Oh my god! Like, just one taps. There we go. Catalyst getting one on the board for the blue team here. Just obliterating kill there. In a matter of seconds there, the burst from the Fresh Air Catalyst, bringing the pain. But is that going to be enough? Of course, this does give the Untamed a little bit of time to actually go for some node pressure here, leaving this as a 4v4 on middle. Let's see who's going to come out on top here. Demolish in a lot of trouble, is going to go down. Say Enigma, I believe, has the revival, is going to go for it. Had stability there, so no interrupt available, I think. Well played there, but the cooldowns are going very, very dry, actually. Might have to use Renewed Focus relatively soon just to rejuice, just to recharge. Ultimate Dark Worm in a little bit of trouble. Has the evasion. Some good defensives are still available here for the Ultimate Dark Worm. Esprit going for the big support. Is trying to land it as best he can. I think the Revenant is going to get out there. Demolish sees the prey, though. Both the Soul Beast and the Rev unbelievably low. However, Demolish has to be careful himself. He doesn't want to extend too far, I think. Could very easily get one-shot by these two damage dealers if he's not careful. Okay. And red team, yeah, they play it safe. I like that. I think, you know, lesser teams would have committed there and said, you know what, we can still make it work. But I like they just concede the map. They go, you know what, that fight wasn't working out. Let's play it safe. We're ahead in the game. We can chill a little bit. And now we have the re-engage onto Enigma. Yeah, that Revenant definitely going to go for that support. Makes a lot of sense. One of the best targets, I think, for this Revenant. Has the ability to remove those boons, of course, with that Shiro F2. And yeah, the Guardian now very pressured. That's always like that's the blood in the water, right? When you see the Guardian use the elite skill, there's no invulnerability. That means there's no cooldown reset. That is when you can really start pressuring that support. Enigma knows that they're in play safe and backs off. And actually, blue team able to pick up a flurry of kills. The Chronomancer going down. And now the support. Red team not getting a good fight there. This could be a bit of a redemption arc here for the blue team after a bit of a rough start in this matchup. Okay. Let's see what's about to happen here. Of course, respawns now have to be waited for the red team. No support as well. Any death is super scary right now. I'll be very, very, I'd be playing very defensive, I think, if I was Azaz right now, because there is no support. Does have the magnetic shield, though, so has a bit of invulnerability to help himself out, but I think he's really running dry on cooldowns now. I think we are going to see a death, though. I don't see any way to survive that. Yeah, the ultimate Dark Worm has been eliminated, and yet just as the support guard runs back in, ooh, red team need to be careful here. I think things have not really been going their way here. Like, they've been having a few very inconveniently timed deaths. They've got to back this up. They do so, and they actually get the Catalyst to push over here towards the mansion. That is nice, actually. Definitely what the Catalyst wants to be doing. Or this particular build, anyway. Much more of a dueling-oriented build, I think, rather than a roaming build like we see from the blue team. I've got to say, you know, look, I'm not gonna lie, guys, you can flame CMC all you want, but there's definitely some variety here. We're seeing some very different approaches to PvP. Of course, there was a balance patch relatively recently, so it's always going to be a little bit chaotic, but very interesting to see the fact that there's a lot of, you know, there is some variance here. Oh, and the Spectre really being in the right place at the right time, able to get rid of that Catalyst instantaneously. Big kill here on mid, though, from the Worms. They're able to get rid of Enigma. Yeah, the knockback will deny that revival. The support is going to go down. That should be a bit of a ticket back into this game here for the red team, because they should be able to force the issue here and at least get rid of this team. But yeah, Demolish falls as well. Will there be a third kill? Who's going to go down third here? Will the Catalyst go down? Looks like the Catalyst is probably pretty okay, I think. Gets the support there from the Untamed. And is in a good kiting position as well. Blue team intercepting this middle node, holding onto it, at least for the time being, or rather not holding onto it, holding it neutral. They're going to have to concede that relatively soon. Catalyst is going to go by mid. Definitely worried about the Thief. I think, you know, wisely so. Always be worried about the Thief in this situation. Now it's going to go through close node towards middle. Realizes the Thief is actually still here on middle. And there's therefore not really a decap threat as of right now. Signet was not used there onto the Catalyst. That was just not going to happen. Absolutely no way. Well, maybe it could have happened, but it would have almost certainly been at the cost of the Guardian's life. It still might be going that way anyway. At this point, I'm not even totally sure if you even bother to use or need focus as Enigma. Yeah, it does go for it, actually. We do have blue team members coming in to try and save the day, but I think this Guardian is still very, very vulnerable. Some nice movement here by Enigma, though. Gets onto a kite spot to try and avoid some of this DPS, but it's still very pressured and basically has nothing left here. Although red team, not super healthy either. Where is the support from Esprit? Esprit is in the mix. Projecting it. That was like the tornado covering my entire screen there. Is this revivable? I think that should be resable here. Oh, maybe not actually. Oh, we actually have the counter cleave. Demolish is downstate. Oh, but Rallies actually goes down again. I think that should actually rally Azaz. Yep, there we go. Rev gets back up there. A bit of a downstate battle there. Still even, though. One player drops per piece, and that Herald is very, very low. There's nothing from the Guardian. Bear that in mind, guys. There is nothing for Esprit currently. They are completely burned out. I imagine it's a similar situation for Enigma. Yeah, it absolutely is. So the next few seconds are going to be pivotal. Red team can still make this work if they're able to get some downstates and actually get these kills. The Chronomancer moving in could be very big. There's no gravity well, though, and that Catalyst is incredibly pressured right now. At the same time, no heal skill sustained for a couple of seconds at this point. Tries to hold on, but it's not going to be good enough. And red team, they're going to have to back up. However, they're still in an okay spot. Just having that one node keeps them alive in this game. We should be able to see an intercept here, I think. Yes! There we go. The port from the rev off respawn does make it. That is actually more painful than it might sound. Holding onto this node is so annoying. Yeah, and blue, they know they've got to go for it. They must decapture this. Otherwise, they're probably a bit dead in the water. And red team, of course, are aware of that as well. The cannons will be back soon, but actually, I think red team are a little bit dry right now. And yeah, I think blue team are able to force the issue. This could be a really big comeback here for the blue team. They're able to get it just in the nick of time to actually intercept these players before red team is able to successfully regroup. I do like this from red, though. This is smart. They're just going to play the map. Yeah. Oh, this Catalyst is going to be so annoying. Oh, he's nearly made it all the way to the mansion. Super annoying. Oh, no. And red team are going to get mid. Oh, I think a little bit slow on the rotations here from blue. They stayed here a little bit too long. They killed everything. But look at this. Oh, no. Oh, that's so bad. Oh, it was a great fight for blue, but I think they just didn't quite get the second part. The follow-up was not quite there, and we might even see the Spectre actually makes it just in time to deny that cap, and they made it to deny blue. Hey, they kind of made it work, I guess. Oh, just barely. That was so huge. That was really nice by the Spectre. Just barely making it here to deny that. And now they've got that double cap. However, more respawns from red are coming through here. Chronomancer moving over. But, they're not going to make the same mistake again. I like that. Demolish is actually playing the map here. Is ready to actually take this engagement. But red team, they've got a very powerful push set up here towards the mansion. But if they die here, the game actually ends. Bear that in mind. They must win this fight now. They have to win. Let's see if they can. They're going to go for Enigma. Enigma does have his elite skill, has that invulnerability available. And actually, it's going to be the Herald going down here. That should be a confirmed kill. There's no stability. Here comes the Signet. Is it going to land? Yes, it absolutely is. Cooldown wars continues. Enigma, though, still has his elite. He's kind of okay right now. I don't think he's super stressed. Here comes the elite skill, and red team are already kind of getting burned out of cooldowns or anything. Have they managed to secure the node? They haven't got it yet. Now I think they're going to really go hard on Enigma, though. Does a Spree have anything left? He has his own renewed focus. Needs to support that Soul Beast, though. The Soul Beast so very low. Who's going to go down first? It is actually going to be the red team. The Soul Beast falls. They can't res that. There's no way they can res that. Oh, no! And Dimash wins the 1v1! Oh, that's huge. Dimash actually clean wins the 1v1. That is massive. Enigma don't... Oh, no, I don't believe this! Enigma crumbles. He goes under the Spectre falls as well. Red team actually claw the fight back. They lose their Soul Beast, but they get that up. And there's the node. They're going to lead the Catalyst there. And they now have the Ranger coming towards close. Now, Dimash is going to match that 1v1. Here we go. Yeah, we'll be able to prevent this neutralization, but can they hold on to middle? I'm not sure if they can pull that off. It's just the Catalyst. Oh, and Dimash actually gets bursted incredibly hard by the Soul Beast, and the Chronomancer is now in play as well. He surely cannot hold this. And I think the Catalyst, I think red team might just be able to get away with this victory here, because now they've got rid of Dimash. They're going to have the windmill. The Catalyst should be able to defend the mansion. Yeah, just going to play it safe. Goes back over there. Meanwhile, red team picking up this kill. 5 points, highly relevant at this stage. And here it is. Chronomancer should be able to get that windmill. Yeah, Soul Beast recognizing the winning condition here, we'll just hang around. At this point, it's die on node time for red team. They just need to not die, and the game will end in their favor. Yeah, more respawns, of course, will come through. Az is also looking to reinforce. Of course, this is where Glint Heal can really pay off. You can just stand on the node and be invulnerable, basically. Yeah, just waiting to rotate cooldowns. They're just going to wait. They're going to go in, rotate when they need to, just to hold on to this particular point. We have the evasion still being used, the dodge rolls being spammed, and 493, they're in the downside, but the Guardian is here as well. We'll be holding on to that. Meanwhile, the Catalyst also doing the same on the other side of the map. And what a game! A very tough start there. A really tough start for Blue. They rallied, but it wasn't quite enough. The French counter-rallied, and they got it done. Wow. What an exciting matchup there. Incredible stuff. Close matchup. And now we have rank 55 Dragons versus Xeon. Oh, that one's already going, apparently. Let's go check it out. Here we go. Oh, it's the Scourge again? I mean, oh. I mean, hey, let's see if we can make it happen. Carablanca on Herald, Floody on the Scrapper, Xeon on Berserker. It's going to be basically mirroring Draza, of course. We have the Core Guardian from Fly and the Scourge from Gornet. The Scourge build, it is here. It's Blood Magic, Soul Reaping, and Scourge. Here's the setup. Gamers, enjoy. So the Dagger, Focus, and Staff. The new Dagger, actually, this Life Siphon ability a lot better. Heals you in a very... You don't have to channel it. You just kind of latch it onto someone. Like, Focus 4, Ray of Judgment on Guardian, right? Or, of course, Hunter's Call, the Birds on Ranger Warhorn. You latch it on and you just get some life steal. It's actually very nifty ability, actually. Just overall. Yeah, with the Sage Amulet going for a bit of a condition setup, essentially. But to be honest... This may well be one of the better Scourge builds that you can make. It's possible. But to be honest, I don't think even Gornet can make this good. We'll see. Yeah, the Snake is available as well. You can see the Snake is in place. Serpent Siphon. Well... Let's see if they can make it work. They're going all close. Honestly, I like that. Get some points on the board. Good strategy for ranked here, guys. But more seriously, they're expecting their opponents to push, right? It's 55. They're going to push. So they're trying to counterplay that. That's intelligent, right? That's a smart thing to do. It's a smart thing to do. And here comes the push. They are able to inside. They're going to go for Frey, by the looks of that. Yeah, here we go. Let's see if that's going to work out. We do have the immediate port away, the Lightning Flash being used by Frey. And, yeah, the Ellie has got out, and now the fight is going to begin. Now, of course, it will be outnumbered in favor of the red team. in this particular situation. They're going to go for Zan. The revive will be primed for Frey to use. And actually, the Mesmer is now moving in. Will the Mesmer get here in time, though? Maybe not. The pressure is already onto Zan. When actually, there's a lot of torment on Frey. I'm not sure if Frey can actually get that revive. Frey actually dies as well. That 12 stacks of torment, really painful for Frey. So the push does not work out. Of course, they do have a little bit of map control because they opted to go for their own home node while pushing. They did not survive that push whatsoever. Wait, Floody with medkit? What on earth is this? This is a crazy build. We got a wacky build here from Floody. I actually do recall watching Floody stream and seeing him experiment with this setup, actually, with medkit, as opposed to some of the more conventional abilities. Because, of course, on Scrapper, you still have Bandage Self, which is a very powerful ability, actually. It's very, very good. You know, it's not like on Mech where you don't have this ability. You do still have a very respectable heal skill, but it's simply on your tool belt instead of on your utility skill instead. Okay. So let's see if the red team can make this work. They've now got their Scourge on middle. Here we go. Scourge is enabled. See what can happen here. If Frey goes down again, that would certainly be the beginning of something very big. And actually, Frey does go down again. Wow. What is going on here? Whoa, what is happening? I think this is just a little bit greedy from 55. They're uncharacteristically so, almost. I think they're not fully waiting for the regroup. Like, Zan was not back there. They were outnumbered. And, you know, there's obviously, like, some damage coming out there, too, you know, with the Herald moving in. Of course, Xeon is going to get eliminated here. We have the Chronomancer and the Warrior finishing that. Is there any way this is recoverable? No, absolutely not. And Floody now over there on the waterfall gets the job done there. Yeah, a little greedy from 55. Now, of course, you know, that the game's not over. It's still pretty close, but yeah, not exactly a good start for them, that's for sure. Okay. Here we go. And the team fight's going to start up again. Looks like it's going to be the focus on the support Guardian. And let's see what's going to happen here. Who's the target going to be? Ooh, Gravity Well, though. That's a scary Gravity Well. Does land on Gornet, but looks like the red team are able to survive that relatively well. Of course, having this Scourge here, you do have kind of like a half support. Good amount of barrier being output by this build, as you can see. Capablanca having a hard time connecting his damage. Very pressured, of course, by the Scrapper and the Chronomancer here. And red team is kind of backing off a little bit, playing a bit more defensively. Maybe trying to rotate the fight over towards Zan, but Zan actually pushes in and gets taken out almost immediately. Frey going for the res maybe, but no, not able to get it. Has to cancel it. The cleave is too much there. And wow. Now, of course, they did get driven away from those nodes pretty significantly there. And that does, of course, end up losing them the point advantage, I think, here. They will be able to get the waterfall, and they arrow to decap mid. So actually, they're going to keep in the lead for now, at the very least. This is actually definitely a spicy game. Okay, and Xeon. Wait, I mean, Frey is kind of in the mix here, trying to hold on to that node. Takes a lot of pressure, though. And here comes the respawns from 55. They're going to Zerg in. And this is definitely a scary moment here for the red team. Oh, Gornet just gets completely eaten alive by the Soul Beast and the Scrapper. Does get revived, though. Oh, the Well of Corruption got power blocked, actually. Oh, no. That's really unfortunate. He does hold off, though, and gets a lot of barrier. If he can now land that well and the Ghastly Breach, that might be able to shut... What is this camera going on here? He might be able to shut down the damage output, but no, it's too much as the Guardian and the Scourge are eliminated. Almost instantaneously. Yeah, that was a scary moment. I mean, it's a difficult call to make there. Does red team go for the hold there? It's always going to be a hard hold. I don't think they were able to really disengage, though. Like, the Guardian and the Necro are a little bit too slow. But unfortunately, the abilities are not there. And oh my goodness, the tide of rank 55 has completely swept away the red team. They have been removed from the map. They have been disposed of. Not exactly ideal. Yeah, they're going to go for a regroup, and I like that. You can see here they're just resetting. It's a bit of a reset here, waiting for everyone to get back into the mix. Here we go. And they're going to wait for Capablanca, I think, yeah, before pushing out. And that's sensible, makes a lot of sense. You know, we did see 55 maybe overextend a bit. Greed a little bit earlier on in this game. They're probably hoping to see if they can punish that again. However, I think 55 probably unwilling to make that mistake again now that they recognize that this is definitely a losable game. Here we go. And so 55 are going to go for the push. They're going to attempt to control this territory. Warrior hanging back, wary of the decap. So 55 are actually outnumbered here. Let's see what Draza's going to do. Draza looks like he is going to start moving towards this. But no, just going to go back to hold of mid. I like this. The safe play from 55. They know they've got the edge now. They're not feeling as much pressure, I think, as earlier in the game to maybe get something done. So, you know what? Well, we'll fight for mid. We can do that. Draza, of course, on the 1v1 are being pushed in there just to be annoying, to hold a player back. And again, notice what 55 are doing. They're making sure that this node here, the waterfall, is just not even relevant. They're only fighting over their opponent's territory, and that means that their territory doesn't even need to be defended. It's a very classic move. It's also a very good one. Like, if possible, you always want to be the aggressor. I think defending is a lot harder than attacking. And yeah, the fight not looking good here either. Floody has been eliminated. Frey, very low too. Does go downstate. Oh, can we see a hold here onto Floody? No, we can't. Yeah, Vapor Form, of course. Very handy in those downstate battles as it allows you to kind of go invulnerable for a bit while you're in downstate. So Elementalist can be very difficult to win a downstate battle against for that reason in one of these big team fights. And yeah, we have Ultranum getting cleaned up here. 4 dead now. Floody respawn. I think it might be a 5th death. It might be a complete team wipe in favor of rank 55. And yes, that is going to be the end of them. They have been eliminated. There you go. It is GG. It is game over. At this point, no real win condition. Maybe one last YOLO push from the red team, but I think by the time they're able to execute that push, it's going to be another 15 seconds. The points are going to be over 400. It's going to be close to 450. They're going to have to win the fight and then triple cap the map. I don't think that's realistic. In fact, it is impossible. There is no way they have time to win that fight and then also get the entire map and then hold the entire map for the rest of the game. It can't be done. Very explosive game, though, actually, and very impressive. Ultranum, honestly, in my opinion, making this comp work as well as they did is highly commendable. I did not expect this to even come in the same universe as something that could actually work here. But that is going to be the end of that here. This is semi-finals, by the way. And yes, Capablanca is Capablanca. Frey is Frey. Draza is not Dra. It is just Draza. One Dodge Man is the Master of Disaster. You've got to rename. He's not One Dodge Man anymore. He's got 2 dodges. Okay, even on Mirage. And Zan is obviously Zan. Yeah. It's the Conde Berserker setup here, guys. Enjoy. And Boyce... Well, guys, what are you talking about? Boyce is playing the monthly AT. He's literally right here. It's not even on like one of those weird names that makes no sense. He's Boyce. Oh, can they kill the Lord in time? I actually don't think they can. They're going for it. Well, I guess they're going to kill the Lord. Oh, they didn't actually get the stomp off. Unlucky. But that's the end of the game. Syndrome versus French. Let's take a look. Ooh. Oh, French win. It is a French victory here by the looks of this. The Omega Spectre composition. Not quite working out. But certainly an interesting thing to see, actually. We have Syndrome on the Power Spectre, Maya and Sakaya on the Conde Spectres. We have Riken and Floor just pumping and blasting away on some Duelist builds. It's going to be the Hammer Catalyst and, of course, the Blade Swan. We have Blue. They're a little bit dead. They've got this one in the bag. It's not gonna... Their red team wins, you know? They should have it locked down. Playing a very safe play right now. They're just kind of bunkering down on 2 at this stage. They secure a kill onto the Catalyst and the Thieves. Yeah, they're not going to do too much. I think, let's see, was the waterfall even fought over? Yeah. This is very smart. Look what they did here. Right, the French recognize, and this is definitely one of the big strengths of the French team. They're very good at rotation, right? They understand how to play the map. Notice this. Notice how they didn't bother to go for waterfall at all. They just said, you know what? The opponent has got 3 Thieves. There's absolutely no way that there's any universe where we're ever going to be able to match the rotational speed of the opponent. So all they did was they bunkered down 2. Which is a very intelligent decision to make, given their opponent's composition and their comp. There's no support for the blue team, and red team has a support. They have good team fight presence with the support Guardian, right, the Hollowsmith, the Herald, all that kind of stuff. So they just stand on 2 nodes. They'd say, you know what, we don't care about Waterfall. We can decap. They decapped it a few times after winning some big fights, as you can see here. But they just were not concerned about that. It was very smart. From the French, and they're going to the finals to face rank 55 Dragons. Grand Finals coming right up. Here we go. It's Forest and Niflhel. Let's see what we got. Classic map to end it. This is probably my favorite PvP map. Let's see what we got. 50 seconds to go. It's going to be the Hollowsmith, actually, from Kill. Interesting. We do have some relogs here. Just basically a higher damage approach is going to be almost trying to match what 55 has. And yeah, we'll see about that. You know, I look at the composition here for red, and I go, oh, blue teams is better in every way. Ooh, this could be a thief, actually. If this was a thief, that could be interesting. Because there is no thief for blue. But, you know, weirdly enough, I kind of like Boyce's Soul Beast build at actually shutting down thief quite nicely. Because even though it doesn't have Sikkim, it does have some... I feel like it has the ability to pressure and bully thieves pretty well. I think you could actually almost say something, in a way, somewhat similarly about the Scrapper. The Scrapper has the ability to kind of be very speedy and zip after the thief. It is going to be the thief from Kill, and I do like that, actually. I think that is a smart choice here. Like, they've got to do something here. They've got to do something a little wacky, you know? Ooh, and this certainly is wacky. We have a Mirage build coming out from the French here. And honestly, I'm completely in favor of this. They're trying to mix it up. They're trying to get something weird. And I like it. They're going for a very high mobility combo. They're going to try and outmaneuver their opponents. I like that. That is smart in my opinion. Oh, but the Mirage kind of gets caught instantaneously. It looks like the French are just going to hold on to that note. A full 5-player push from 55. Super aggressive. But it was predicted and somewhat absorbed by the red team here. Now, I think a big story here is going to be this Catalyst versus the Berserker 1v1. It was pretty stale last time, so I'm pretty sure it goes nowhere. It's going to come down to the +1s. And I think we do have some good options there. Of course, I think Boyce is going to be a big part of the +1 capability of rank 55, but actually, never mind that. Never mind +1s. How about +4? Here we go. It's a massive team fight, and Esprit is going to be the target. He's trying to cut up there, but he can't. I think the effects are blocking his vision. He's going to die. There's just no way. The target focus is too much, and there is not enough cleave. And I think we need to see red team dodge these team fights. You can't team fight this. There's just no way. There is so much AoE damage in this composition. You know, you have the Soul Beast, you've got the Chronomancer and the Scrapper. There is no way that red team can match this in a 3v3 or a 4v4. It is simply impossible. Like Herald, Spectre, and Mirage, these are glass cannons, right? Like, these are builds that don't have sticking power in these fights. They don't have the ability to have that type of sustained cleave that the blue team currently possesses. So they've got to try and split the map here. And that is something that the French are good at. They can do that pretty well. Well, here we go. Looks like Zan is going to fall. However, Frey will just get that res. But that's a revive that has now been burned. If we can see another kill be secured now, that could be big. I am not a condition. I believe it is a, what is this build? It is a Condi Mirage. Yeah, I expected that. I saw the axe there, so I was like, oh yes, Condi Mirage. A fun build, back at last. If Azus can hold on here, this is pretty good. They actually have managed to get to this 3-node state. It's not that 55 won't be comfortable in this position, of course. It's that I think this is certainly the win condition, or part of the win condition for the red team. Revive comes through onto the Dark Worm. Oh, there's no block. The stun chaining is just too much. And yeah, that Herald, it's one of those specs that hasn't really kept up with power creep. It's certainly not a bad build, right? It's not completely unplayable, but it just does not have the power creep that a lot of the other specs have. And yeah, the nades finish off the Guardian as well. Yeah, I just don't see this. I think 55 composition and, of course, their spectacular execution is going to win them the day here. I think the French, they're going for it. They've tried something spicy. They tried to mix it up a little bit, and they did get some value with this thing. The Mirage is delivering some value, but I don't think it's good enough. 4 players from the French Worms all dead. There just hasn't been that pick capability. The pick capability, the kill capacity has not come through yet. Boyce eliminates the Thief over here on middle. No Boyce, no win, gamers. If Boyce was on red team, it's free win, but Boyce is on blue, so it's free loss. It's not looking good whatsoever. Ooh. Man. Catalyst having a fun time this game. Gets to 1v1. Eternally into the Condi Berserker. Yeah. You hate to see it. Here comes the respawn. Here comes the gaming. And the French are going to go for it again. They're going to go for it. I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Incoming call by Revenant class. Message my Revenant class. Hey, man. I don't know how to tell you this, but can you please buff my power coefficients a little bit? I just can't stand being so bad in SPVP anymore. I just can't. This is fucked. It's not right. It's not cool. This is bullshit. The next time I need to press more than one button to kill someone. Okay, yeah, I won't read the end of that. But yeah. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Here we go. Here we go. French are about to activate. Zan goes down. Misha and Frey all fall. French are back in this. We now have this 1v1 here. It's the Power Catalyst, by the way, guys, with Divinity Rune. With Fire, Arcane, and Catalyst. Very much the kind of like, almost like the original Catalyst build, right? We've gone full circle. We went to Fresh Air, now we're back to Hammer. Enjoy that 1 second of stability when you get an aura. Yeah, okay. Well, if they can kill Draza, I do like this that they can get this kill. Of course, Herald is also very commonly used for this kind of +1 capacity, but the thing is, I don't think the Herald can really actually do that much to the Berserker. Yeah, I think, you know, this is actually so funny. Let's actually talk about this when it comes to balance. I felt like the ultimate Dark Worm +1ing there, he was actually more in danger of dying in a 1v2 than he was actually able to kill the opponent. That actually, I think that says it all. Oh, but hang on a minute. They're really latching onto Frey here. I like this target focus. Frey gets a good kite and a massive re-heal. But of course, that will be some pretty powerful corners now being used that are not being used on the team. Let's see if Esprit can hold on and continue to support the team here. That Chronomancer getting very pressured. Oh, massive burst, but into the invulnerability. There it is. Oh, and we do have a Signet. There's the stability. It should land, I think. There we go. But there's nothing left for Support Guardian now. There's just so much damage. Look at the aggression from rank 55. This absolutely is them in their element. They love this playstyle. Can they get rid of Frey, though? Frey is going to fall there from the Worms. The Worms might have actually found the Outlast. Have they done it? Frey going to go down. So there it is. But the Catalyst. Oh, Draza wins the 1v1, I think. Maybe there was a plus there from the Chrono match. So maybe I wasn't paying attention. I think the Chrono was on mid, though. So, you know, that is not the case. But actually, hang on a minute. R55 recovering this team fight. I think they are. Oh, they are recovering it. After losing their support, it doesn't matter. They have the damage. They owe it to burst through. This is actually very much a possibility, by the way. In a team fight, you never relax. Like, even when you're down a player, that doesn't mean much unless you can actually restabilize and get your cooldowns back. Whenever you lose a player in a team fight, there's a brief window. You've got a window of like 20 to 30 seconds where you can actually still win even if you're a player down. Because, of course, your opponents will have burned a lot of offensive and defensive cooldowns to actually survive or to generate a kill on you. So if you have a few seconds to turn the tide, and that's exactly what 55 did. And now they're back in that good spot again. Draza getting the beast, of course. Any kind of a Condi Duelist build is always really good at this because, you know, Condi Duelist builds typically have a lot of damage if they can just ramp up on a target. There it is. There's the kill. And I'm afraid we're getting towards the end here, my friends. I'm not really seeing much of a win condition, much of a victory situation here, unfortunately, for the red team. The Worms definitely put up a good fight here, though, actually. Definitely a relatively a closer game than I was potentially expecting, given the fact that I think 55 just found a very good strategy, right? I think they definitely came out guns blazing for this tournament, right? They had that legendary, near unbeatable roster. This is your world championship roster, essentially. This is, I think, what a lot of people would consider to be the 5 best PvP players in the game overall, maybe even of all time. Some people would say that. And it's not a surprise that they are performing so well and that they're so difficult to deal with in this matchup. Especially given that the way these games are playing out is very much in line with how 55's playstyle has typically been, right? They don't like the bunkery stuff. They like the aggression. They like the high mobility, right? They like having these super high damage classes. They execute it, and they're going to win the crown. The crown has been successfully gatekept. There it is. And here we go. The game approaches its end. The Worms holding on for dear life on this node, trying to make something happen. But in the end, they're not going to get the job done. And that is going to be good game, well played. It's over. Rank 55 Dragons, the ultimate roster, are the crown winners. There it is. Boom.